Wait. Okay, we're live. Well, we've gone live a bit prematurely, but that's okay. Well, look at this beautiful day. Sunday in Australia, 10:10 a.m. So we're on flight 10:10, 5 degrees Celsius. That's a bit chilly, but that's all right. I have a beanie, scarf, fingerless gloves. I've got a hot coffee. We've got about an hour's drive to the Valley of Love, also known as, well, the Darwin Valley. But in particular, we're going to New Norfolk. So let's go. Hope you brought your snacks and beverages and seatbelts and life jackets. Oh, I just did a wheelie in my driveway. Hey, Scout. How you doing? I just gave Sonny a very early morning treat. She normally gets treats if I'm home around lunchtime, but she always comes into the kitchen when I'm making lunch in case there is a treat on offer. But I just gave her a little treat this morning. So I'll be out for a few hours. How are you, Scout? What's news? I know, isn't the sky amazing? I was saying to a girl at the gym last night that I didn't do an audio check. Hang on. It's just a couple of settings that I have to make sure are turned up or the audio's bad. I mean, it's never great, but I can't drive with like earbuds and stuff. So yeah, everything's good. Okay. Yeah, I'm really good. I went to the gym this morning, did my bike class with, there's a regular group of us on Sunday, so it's always a bit social and fun. And I was going to be heading up the East Coast, like back up the way we were the other weekend, to have lunch. Are you going to do you get to hear all the map stuff, or is it just um, me? Because I can turn her off. I know where I'm going. I'm just a different way. Just based on. Hey, cement shoes. Didn't see you go cruising, but I can see Scout saying hi to you. Let me know if you can hear the maps, because if so, I'll turn her off, because I don't actually need to hear her every 5 seconds, and neither do you guys. In the gym last night, the sunset was, oh no, not last night, must have been Friday night. The sunset was so pretty. And I was saying to a girl at the gym that, I mean, we have beautiful skies, as you guys know, and they're very blue because the sky reflects that so well. But the sunsets are stunning all year round. But in winter, because of the cold, like the sunrises and sunsets are, I think, even more beautiful. Oh, you can't hear the maps? Okay. So if I suddenly stop talking, it's because she's interrupting me. You relax by the pool all day. Well, that sounds very summery. Although technically you're in spring. Yeah, isn't it beautiful? I mean, that's where we're headed. It's such a gorgeous little town. Um, it's absolutely packed with. I mean, I laugh in Australia that we have antique shops because Australia is such a young country. It doesn't mean we don't have antiques here that have been imported from other countries, because we do. But lots of antique shops, lots of what we call op shops, or you guys might call them thrift stores. But then there's also other beautiful shops too, homewares and clothing, and there's a stationery shop that I love. I love it. I love paper. I'm very tactile, and I love writing. Being left-handed, I love finding gorgeous pens to write with, and so I always make a point of popping into the stationery store, and treat myself to a little journal, because I really, now that the insurer has told me they're not going to cover the house, it's called New Norfolk Cement Shoes. It's in the title, dude. 2 words, New Norfolk. But yeah, you can Google it. You can see where I'm heading for sure. But many, many years ago too, was the home of the Royal Derwent, which back in the day was pretty inappropriately referred to as the lunatic asylum. But the asylum now is all sort of shops and cafes and restaurants, and it's still got a very kind of creepy, but knowing it's past, like we're all very aware of what happened there. It was horrible. Um, but it's a bit like visiting the convict sites in Tassie. There's an understanding of the horrors that happened there in the past, but there's also a feeling of, I guess, relief that they are no longer what they were, and they're now being used to make them, I guess, have a second life and a second chance of being something positive. But it's not my fault you didn't read the title, dude. But yeah, it's beautiful, and it's in the Derwent Valley, which is affectionately known by Tasmanians as the Valley of Love. Dude on a big motorbike behind me. I'm trying to get over so he will overtake me, but he's been responsible and waiting for the double lines to end. Good on you, mate. Um, so yeah, it's sort of affectionately known by Tasmanians as the Valley of Love. But it's a very scenic, beautiful part of the state, and we haven't really explored this way, so that's why I thought I'd go by. Plus, it'll be pretty gorgeous. There's 3 different ways I could go to New Norfolk from here, and they'd all be very pretty drives with scenery you may not have seen before. Just bear in mind, though, that I'm driving in rural Tasmania, so it's quite possible we'll have periods of little or no reception. I'm hoping I'm hoping we have it the whole way through, because we're going through lots of little country towns. But I'd also really love to do a live from New Norfolk sometime soon. Probably in autumn, because the trees up that way in autumn are all the ones that change colour, and there's lots of old oast houses and breweries, and there's the salmon ponds, and it's also the gateway up to some really beautiful national parks. So down the track, I'll actually do a proper g'day New Norfolk. But what I've decided to do with this channel is, because primarily I'm just taking you guys for a drive and you get to enjoy the scenery and so on, I'm going to start reacting to some videos about Tasmania that show it off, because there's so many parts of Tassie where the reception's terrible, and people have gone to the effort of filming it and getting drones and all of that sort of stuff. And so I'm going to start reacting to videos about where I live. And I'm either going to be reacting to people reacting to videos about Tasmania, or just showing some Tasmanian stuff that you guys can get to see more, because I mean, at the end of the day, roads are roads, and yes, the skies are amazing. But I'd love you to actually get to see the really remarkable. I mean, this island is incredible. It's got so many different landscapes and so many amazing places, but so many of them are off the beaten track, and that's my plan. No, just a little day trip, Scout. It's about an hour's drive from where I am. The guys that I'm meeting up with, most of them live in town, so or suburbs of town of Hobart. So for them, it's more like a well, for one of them, it's like a 30-minute drive. The others, it's more like 40 minutes, I guess. But we're sort of from where I am, we can kind of cut across the island a bit and not right to the other side, but we're sort of going like a back way. So yeah, it works out to about an hour for me. Whereas if I drove to town, it'd be 35, 40 minutes and then another 40 minutes. So we're sort of cutting 20 minutes off the trip. Um, what the hell? My phone's just already overheating. Now I don't know the fastest way to go because I didn't pay attention to the map. I just said choose the fastest route. What I'm going to do is just go the way I was planning on going, and hopefully it's going to be about an hour and a bit whichever way I go. Like the difference is an hour and 1 minute, an hour and 4 minutes, or an hour and 6 minutes, I think. So that's weird. I've still got the maps talking to me, and it's not taking me the way I thought we'd be going. So this is kind of curious. Hmm. I hope it's I hope it's still taking me the quickest way. But yeah, it's a lovely little place to uh, shit. I got to pull over. Lots of Sunday drivers. I mean, it's certainly a great place to go for weekends and stuff. There's so many different types of accommodation up there, and there's little. I mean, there's lots of Airbnbs and cute little hotels and stuff, but there's also sort of like farm stays. And my ex Jim and I went up, like up into the Derwent Valley a few years ago. Well, quite a few years ago. We broke up in 2014, so nearly a decade ago. Jesus Christ. Um, but we stayed at this little place that was had once been an operating farm, and had all these little fruit pickers huts, and the main farmhouse, they sort of converted it into a general sort of um, well, like a main building, and they had an industrial kitchen and a dining room. And if you went up in a group of people, they'd actually do like a catered dinner for you. But you could also use, I mean, all the cabins had their own little kitchens and stuff, and they had a veggie garden, and you could go and pick whatever you wanted to cook with. And They had a pizza oven out on the deck, and they had a barbecue area, and all of these different hikes going in different directions. It was absolutely fantastic. Absolutely beautiful. You're a Sunday driver, Scout? Yeah, us Taswegians love a good Sunday drive. There are people that drive on Sunday but don't drive any other day of the week, and it shows. But it's nice just to go for a bit of an outing and catch up with a beautiful group of friends. Like my best mates, the Andys, are going to be there. And then two of my friends as well. Four of my friends. I just forgot too. There's another couple that are coming as well. So yeah, there's a little gang of us, and we're all very close and just like to hang out together. I mean, I'll probably leave though, like by 3, because I've got an hour's drive home, and I want to get home before it gets cold and dark, and I want to cook dinner. I was hoping to go live on YouTube, but setting up the kitchen and everything, sometimes you just get home and it's like, just cook dinner, but we'll see. My kitchen, I really like to have like a permanent setup for filming, so I could literally just plug in my laptop and go live, but it's just not practical. And I'm looking at getting some sort of bracket that I can set the camera up on and stuff like that. But the beautiful causeway. I'm really surprised we're going this way. The way I chose was we would have gone through Sorel. So I don't really know which way it's taking me, but it does update. So I reckon we're probably going to end up going the least scenic way, unfortunately. You're going to get to see the outer suburbs of Hobart, a shitload of highway, and then the beautiful part of entering into the Valley of Love. But you would have seen that if we'd gone a more scenic way. I might even go live driving home too, and I will go a more scenic way. But yeah, there's sort of like, well, there's 4 ways. Well, there's lots of ways if you link up different roads, but there's 3 main ways to get out to New Norfolk. One of them is the way I think we're being taken, which is more sort of suburbia. But the other 2 ways, we should have gone through Sorel, the little town back there that I take you to a fair bit, and we bypassed Sorel. So I don't know. I feel like there's something I wanted to say to you, Scout. Like remember when you see Scout something, but I will tell you one thing. This wasn't what I was going to say I had to tell you, but get a RoboVac. Oh my God. Mrs. Anderson, Mrs. A, has changed my life. She has vacuumed 3 times and mopped 2 times, and I am besotted. Absolutely besotted. Mrs. Anderson, Mrs. A, is named after a cleaning lady that my mum engaged to help her clean the house when my mum started working once we were a little bit old enough to, head off to school and whatever. And I don't remember Ruby, Mrs. Anderson, ever really being a dedicated, hard-working cleaner. I remember her sitting in the kitchen chain smoking and drinking cups of coffee with my mum. My mum didn't smoke, but Mrs. A did. And Mrs. A would offer me and my brother and sister even, maybe, I don't know, one of her Ascot cigarettes when mum wasn't around. But mum adored her. We all adored her. And it was kind of irrelevant whether she cleaned. I mean, she did do a bit, I think. But she loved to chat. Hey, Michelle P. It does get the corners, as long as there's nothing in the way. So you have to be a bit, like if you were vacuuming your house thoroughly, you've got to move some stuff out of the way, like chairs up on table, on the dining room table, pick up little rugs, like food bowls for the pets. But if it can get into a space, it's immaculate. And then one of the vacuums that I got her to do left all the rugs and bowls and everything down just to see what she would do. And she just sort of, some of the rugs she was able to get over, others she just kind of pushed them and then gave up. But she actually went around Sunny's placemat with the bowls on it. She didn't just barge over it. But I mean, I've got a little handheld stick vacuum like a Dyson, and I still go around after she's finished her cleaning and she's back on the charging station getting ready for her to do some mopping. I go around with my Dyson stick vacuum and get into all of those little corners that she can't get to. Like I've got a table in the corner of my bedroom. She can't get in behind that. She can't get behind the lamp. There's a few spots. But I just go around with the stick vacuum and do the final bits. I know, I should be. The brand I got is called EcoVac D-Bot 8. And there's other D-Bots since the 8, but the 8 is perfectly fine as far as I'm concerned. And I read heaps of reviews and did a lot of research, and I decided on the D-Bot 8. Well, just a D-Bot. But then I'm so bummed I'm going this way. Could have gone a much prettier way. Maybe I'll go live again driving back. But the next thing I'm going to buy, because Amazon had their Amazon Prime Day, so I managed to get it for like a third of its usual cost. But it didn't come with a docking station that it can empty itself. But I'm not fussed. Like I just emptied the little container, and it's pretty much 90% sunny fluff and whatever else has been, dust or whatever. But until I'm using her on a regular basis, the little container pretty much fills up after each vacuum. And because there's fluff, there's a little brush that comes with it, and I just like to manually clean that out anyway. But apparently if you do it, if you can schedule it, and if you schedule it to do it every 2 days or whatever, after a while it gets to the point that you only have to empty the little tub maybe once a week. I think it's probably a bit more when you've got pets. But what I'm going to do is, and the thing is, when the little bucket gets full, it stops and it sends you a text message asking you to empty it. But I think with my tax return, I'm not going to get a big one, but it's going to be, I don't know, maybe $400. I'm going to splurge and get the little self-emptying docking station. There's lots and lots of accessories that you can get. But yeah, I mean, God, I don't mind emptying it manually. I think, if anything, at the moment, while it's still finding a lot of fluff. But one thing I've noticed really quickly with it was it got to the when my knee was stuffed and I wasn't able to vacuum for a while, and I had friends that came and ran around the house with a vacuum, and I felt really uncomfortable just sitting on a chair while they were cleaning up around me. But it was starting to get to the point that I felt like there was fluff just floating in the air as well. And everything I touched or sat on, there just seemed to be fluff. I've noticed already that that fluff is in the air thing is truly gone. Like, I'm pretty pleased with it. And I think you still need to do like a good proper vacuum with your heavy duty vacuum cleaner from time to time as well, but maybe only like once a fortnight now. It might even get to the point that I'm only doing it once a month. But Sunny despises the vacuum cleaner. Like, she's really scared of it. I open up her enclosure so she can run out there while I'm vacuuming. Whereas the D-bot, she's curious. No, she's not scared of it. She was sitting on the ottoman while I was vacuuming the rug underneath her and just watching it. So I'm happy about that too. Like, it's a less stressful. I can't believe we're going the way I drive to work every day. I'm so disappointed. So disappointed. But irrespective of where this friggin' maps is thinking of taking me, I'm going to go a different way. We're not going to go over the bridge. You've got an air purifier, Scout. Yeah, I think they're good value too. But I mean, I'm trying to be a minimalist, and I keep buying things like, now I've got RoboVac. But I had a thought the other day, like, its home base is currently set up in the living room, but like in a little nook, sort of, a bit out of sight. But I realised, um, but I'm going to change where its base is to my bedroom, because the other side of like the side of the bed that, well, I don't really, I sort of sleep in the middle of my bed because I love being a bit of a starfish. But there's room next to the bedside table on the window side of my bedroom, and there's a PowerPoint right there as well. So I'm thinking Mrs. A is actually going to end up living in my bedroom, and she's really cute. When her battery's getting low, she takes herself back to a docking station. But the thing I really love about her is that she vacuums and mops under my bed and under the spare bed. And that, when I was vacuuming manually, that was always, to me, the biggest pain in the clacker, because, right, so we're going a new. This is where my friend Laura, who's been on my panel in the past, she lives down here, and also another beautiful friend of mine, Kim. So at the moment, we're in Rose Bay, but we're about to head into Lindisfarne. So I spend a lot of time in this part of the state too, catching up with my girls. I can't read the screen though, because I actually need my sunnies, and they're not prescription. Plus the sun's in my face now, so I hope my phone doesn't overheat. I might have to put the window down. Let some 11-degree Celsius wind or air into the car to cool down my snowflake phone. Hopefully I'll have to stop at a traffic light or something so I can see chat, because at the moment I can't, obviously. Yeah, your red light. The sun, though, is right in my eye. How often does the machine vacuum a day? Well, I think I get about, I think she does it for nearly an hour before she's out of battery. Well, not out of battery. It takes her 54 minutes. She's still got battery left. You get a little, put that bike loud. You get a report, but you, the first time you use them, they go around the house and they do like a map, and then you can custom the cleans. So, like for mopping, I've got 3 different mopping options set up now. I've got one where Mrs. A just does the bathroom and the kitchen, like the side of the island bench side of the kitchen. Then there's another mopping one where Mrs. A does the living room, kitchen, bathroom. And then the third one includes my bedroom and one of the spare bedrooms. But I can't believe how thorough, and just like the tiniest little corners. And I deliberately put a couple of things on the floor just to see if she gets them, and she does. And then, yeah, she'll take herself back to her docking station, and then you fill up a little container with water and add the mopping pad, and then once she's got enough charge, she'll head off and do the mopping. And then the other thing that they do, which luckily for me, my place, I mean, if I added the third bedroom, I reckon she'd still have enough battery power to do that as well. But if they are mid-clean and they get low on battery, they take themselves back to the docking station and recharge, and then they complete the clean. Hi, Kylie. So, yeah, it's pretty amazing technology. But it's also like it works. You do need one Scout. If I haven't, well, I've definitely obviously convinced you. They're great. And if you've got like a multi-level house, they'll do maps for each floor. And there are a few people that say they get a docking station and put one on each floor so that they've got they can go back and recharge whatever floor they're on, which makes sense. But I'm pretty amazed by how good it is. And then scheduling, I mean, there are some people that say they have theirs set to clean at 4 o'clock every afternoon. So when they get home from work, they walk in the door and the house is clean. For me at the moment, originally I scheduled her every day, and then I was like, no, that's pointless. But now that I've got maps set up, one clean. I keep going quiet because the map's talking to me, but um, yeah, one clean is just like the bathroom, kitchen, hallway, and my bedroom, like, on the days that I'm working. So I've set that up on the days that I go to work because they're the only sort of areas that I've really used. And then I kind of do like I've got two scheduled vacuums of the full house when I go to the gym, and one's on Saturday, and I think the other one is on Thursdays. But the mopping, you kind of do that straight. So like when I got home from the gym yesterday, then I filled it up with water and added the mop attachment, and then that's when I went and did some grocery shopping. And I got home and it was all done. But really, But then also I've got a mop that I adore, and I still do once a week a really good thorough manual mop of the kitchen area mainly. And I used to do the bathroom. They were sort of the two that I did every week without fail. But now I just do the kitchen because the bathroom is sparkling. But and they're tiles. It's not like where the timber and where the rugs are that there's dust that accumulates really quickly. So riveting stuff. Anyway, you're going to get to see some beautiful scenery now. We are driving along the eastern shore of the Derwent River. Now, there's a bridge coming up that we could go on, but then it's just going to be a drive through suburbia. I'm going to keep going straight ahead. But oh wait, I think I just took the wrong friggin' turn. I didn't take the turn, or did I? No, we're going over the bloody bridge. Okay, we're going suburbia. I was chatting right when I was meant to turn off. I was not thinking. That's okay. We're going over the Bowen Bridge. So this is the bridge that was built when the Tasman Bridge that we usually go over collapsed when the boat hit it. Oh, one that vacuums and mops at the same time. Yeah, well, I haven't fully researched mine. It might even be able to do that. I don't know. Maybe not. The newer D-Bot might be able to. I'm quite happy having them separate, but I get that though. But I kind of like the house to have been vacuumed first. And I mean, the way I clean is to vacuum and then mop, but I love that it goes under my bed and vacuums and mops under my bed. Oh my God. Yeah, a boat hit the bridge. Have you not been in my lives when I've talked about that? It was in the 70s, I think it was 76 or 77. It was 1976. There was a cyclone in Australia in the Northern Territory called Cyclone Tracy that was an absolute, like, mega disaster. And then the Tasman Bridge accident happened not long after, but I can't remember if it was right at the end of 76 or into 77. But yeah, a tanker called the Lake Illawarra collided with one of the pylons of the bridge, and a portion of the bridge collapsed. And sadly, some people that were driving over the bridge at the time literally drove off the bridge and into the water to their deaths, which was horrible. There's also like a famous photo of one car just hanging over the edge, like terrifying. I'm pretty sure the entire crew of the Lake Illawarra all drowned as well. But for quite a few years, the Tasman Bridge was pretty much cut off because it had to be rebuilt, and they built the Bowen Bridge, the one we just went over. Originally, they had this um, bridge that was built by the Defence Force that pretty much just was floating on top of the water while they built the Bowen Bridge. Like, it was in the same sort of spot. Little Missy tailgater behind me. She's not now, but wow, what an aggressive little biatch. Yeah, it was horrible. There's people in Tassie that still can't drive over the bridge or who feel unbelievably nervous, even as a passenger. Yeah, the Valley of Love. That's what the locals, the Tasmanians, call it. It's actually the Derwent Valley, but we all refer to it as the Valley of Love. You guys have definitely been on this road with me because we're heading out to Mona at the moment, the Museum of Old and New Art. I was taking you guys to Mona before. But yeah, if I start doing some reaction videos to like people that have done videos about Tasmania, um, I'll include like some Tasmanian history as well. So things like the bridge collapse. And then, so they built the Bowen Bridge after they had this sort of temporary floating army bridge. And then a lot of people started commuting to work by ferry to get from the eastern shore over to the western shore into Hobart. And the ferries are starting to crank up again and get a bit more regular, which is really great, to try to reduce the traffic in the mornings. And they're talking about, one day having a ferry even down near where I live. So considering where I live has ferry in the name, we used to be a hub for ferries transporting goods and stuff out to the rural areas. So yeah, I mean, if I could catch a ferry to work, I'd do it. I'd love to. It'd be way more fun than driving. If anyone likes model trains, there's a model train show on August the 5th and 6th. So hop to it. I won't be going, but I saw a sign back there and I just sort of let you know. Choo choo. little Miss Tailgater who's speeding in the left-hand lane, which is usually the non-speeding lane. Hi to anyone watching. Riveting stuff. I'm cruising down the highway in the hot sun. We're heading to New Norfolk, which is a beautiful little town, and my thumbnail in the Valley of Love, officially known as the Derwent Valley, but for some reason Tasmanians refer to it as the Valley of Love or the Valley of Love. I'm catching up with some beautiful friends. It's a gorgeous little town to potter around in, lots of beautiful shops and eateries, and there's 7 of us catching up for some pottering and community overheat, which is why I have to keep opening the window. I'm really sorry about that because it's a bit loud. And obviously at the moment I can't read chat, but I'm sure you're all catching up, and the sun's in my face anyway. So, and we just went past a turn off to another suburb called Austin's Ferry, similar to where I live. This area was also a hub back in the day where ferries would have transported goods out to rural areas. So who won MasterChef? Brent, my favourite. Which was gorgeous because Brent is the one that had to withdraw from a season because he was just finding it so stressful and his anxiety was out of control. And Jock, the beautiful judge that we talked about, who sadly died very young, 46, the night before the new season of MasterChef was about to start, became Australia's, well, I mean, everyone was madly in love with him anyway, but it escalated our love because he openly talked about having anxiety and had a really beautiful conversation with Brent and gave Brent some of his worry beads, and it was just really great for mental health, for men to speak up. Like, it changed so many men's perception about, you know, I can't admit to having anxiety and depression because people will think I'm weak. And then they invited Brent to come back and have another go at it, and he did. And for him to have won in the year that, like the last season with Jock in it, like, it was just a really gorgeous ending to a very sad story. But yeah, yay for Brent. Woo! It was a beautiful ending for sure. I mean, I don't choose a favourite at the start of any sort of reality show because you're just setting yourself up for disappointment. But I think everyone had a very soft spot for Brent. So many of us were pretty excited. I mean, the cynical viewers were like, oh, of course, it's all rigged and Brent's going to win it because he's Jock's favourite, blah, blah, blah. But Brent was smashing shit out of the ballpark every week, you know, and even if judges have a soft spot or favouritism for a particular contestant, there are other judges as well, you know, like if they don't think that person's doing a great job, they're going to be honest about it. So it's going to take us about, I don't know, probably got about 15 k's to get to New Norfolk. A lot of activity to the right because they're selling spuds, jams, and sweets. Now, what we call a jam, 16 k's to New Norfolk. What we call a jam, you guys call a jelly. And what we call jelly, you guys call jello. So everyone's pulling over back there to buy spuds, jams, and sweets. I don't cook with sweets a lot. They're not really my favourite. Well, it's not that I don't like sweet. I just don't ever think of. See, that's a bit narrow with cars going in one direction and the other direction and two cyclists. But we did it, guys. We did it. Look at that sky. I'm definitely going to bring you guys back here in autumn because it's so pretty. If you want to Google New Norfolk, there's lots and lots of photos taken in autumn with all the trees. You brought snacks? Yeah. There's some really beautiful vineyards in this area too, including one coming up soon, Stefano Lubiano. Oh my God, yum, yum, yummity yum. There's also a cooking school out here, which is a farm. So you go left there to go up to Stefano Lubiano winery. It's divine. The agrarian kitchen, where you can go and spend a day cooking under the guidance of a very experienced, amazing chef. And they've also got a little restaurant in New Norfolk, and I've got a feeling that might be where we're having lunch. There's another vineyard just up here called Derwent Estate that's also lush. And you guys probably can't see it, but to the right of me is the Derwent River. It's pretty cold. I'm glad I brought my really warm coat, beanie, scarf, gloves. Thanks for coming on the drive with me, guys. Whatever you're doing on your Sunday, I hope it's spectacular. Yeah, and the cooking school is a pretty full-on one. Like, one of the classes you can do, which Jim and I didn't do, we treated each other to a day at the agrarian kitchen. I think it cost like $600 a person back then, or maybe even $750. I can't remember. But one of the ones you can do, you actually slaughter a pig, and you learn how to butcher a pig. And but I'm allergic to pork, and I also grew up with grandparents with a farm. I don't need to learn how to slaughter a pig, thank you very much. But for the the hardcore foodies, from farm to plate is important, and so yeah, you can do that, but we didn't because there was no point. But the one we did, like, he's got a garden as well, and we had to milk some goats, and we used the goat's milk for some of the dishes, and chose a dish that they had to do, and Jim and I were on mains. We had to do a lamb roast that was cooked in a huge pot on straw on the stovetop, and it was amazing. And then you all sit around together and have lunch, and so we did the half day. Lunch and a couple of vinos, and then off you go. But it's a great experience, but it's not cheap. There's definitely cheaper cooking schools, but Rodney who runs it and his little French wife, like it's very next level, hands-on sort of cooking for sure. But the restaurant we're going to, if we go to the Agrarian Kitchen at New Norfolk today, we don't have to kill the food we're going to eat. We just get fed. A little gratuitous plug for my Sleuths and Smooth Criminals channel, but we will be covering Critical K's appeal. We just went past a memorial to an unsolved Tasmanian murder that I'll be covering at some point as well. But our case I want to cover, which is Laura, aka Life Perplexed. She has offered to represent Critical K and lodge an appeal against judge's decision against Critical K that she defamed Ray Andriaccio and has been ordered to pay the family $501,000. Laura has very kindly offered to assist Kay pro bono in lodging an appeal. Now, there's some really interesting comments under the video, under the live I did yesterday about this. And I definitely need to do some more research into the lawsuits the Andriaccios have already filed. And I did find one that they lost, but I think the biggest hurdle Kay has to overcome is that she refused to participate in this lawsuit against her. She was representing herself pro se, but didn't actually attend anything, claiming financial hardship and not being able to travel to the court, even though she allegedly filed some of the court papers from Hawaii whilst on holiday. And even when the court agreed to do like a teleconference, she just didn't respond. Didn't respond to emails from the Andriaccios lawyers or the courts. And in Australia, that's contempt. And you can go to jail for 2 years for that. I mean, I can't imagine an Australian court entertaining an appeal when someone has essentially been a no-show from start to finish. I can't imagine our courts going, yeah, no worries, you fucking ignored everything the first time round, sure. But Laura, who hasn't even read all of the paperwork yet, was very quick to say that the lawyer made a bad decision and it's questionable if they even had jurisdiction to make that decision. And she has offered to represent, well, maybe not represent, I'm probably, you know, exaggerating a little bit, but don't let the truth get in the way of the story, right? But she's offered to help Kay with an appeal. But I don't see how a court would even entertain it. You've got so much to catch up on, Kylie. But yeah, it's a doozy. And it's rugged with sleuths and smooth criminals, where we talk about the way social media is impacting civil and criminal trials and cases and families. Here we are, guys. We have arrived in New Norfolk, established 1807. What I'm going to do is head to the sort of township centre and end the live and message the gang and see where they are and join up with them. I think lunch is at 1, so we've got like an hour and a half of shopping. I'm not really up here to shop. I've got to save my pennies to sort out what the fuck I'm doing with my bathroom now that the insurer has finally told me they're not going to cover it. Surprise, surprise. I'll do a little quick drive around for you guys, but I don't know if you're starting to see, but New Norfolk is just full of gorgeous little cottages and houses, and then there's another bridge that takes us over the Derwent River. Like it's a township that's split by a bridge. But I think if I go live driving home as well, now if we were heading up to the west coast, we'd go straight ahead, but we're not. I actually need to go to the loo, so I'm going to drive around till I can find a loo, and then I'll end the live, sort myself out, and then hook up with the group. But I hope you all have a beautiful weekend, whatever you get up to. Yeah, no, 500,000, right? 500,000 and 1,000. Don't leave that. Don't leave that extra 1,000 off just to add insult to injury. You don't owe just a 500,000. You owe 500,000. There's a pub there, but there's got to be some public loos somewhere. But there's all these cute little antique shops, and the main drag's actually the least exciting. Like where we are at the moment is the least exciting. But I'm just giving you a little tour of New Norfolk whilst looking out for a public toilet sign because I'm busted. But yeah, so this is where I'm going to spend my day, hanging out with some friends, eating lunch, shopping, well, looking at shops. I've found a loo sign, but I've got to turn left here. Okay. Oh, this is a little circle, and there's loos around the back. So thanks for coming with me on the drive, guys. And for those of you that might be a week later, I will do another live driving home. Now I've got the boys calling me. But where are the actual loos? I saw a sign, but I can't see where they actually are. Oh, they're there. Okay. So, yeah, guys, I'm going to end the live. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and have a great weekend. And, yeah, I'll go live this afternoon. Lots of love, and see you soon.
Bye.